here is the Bible. You might think it's just a really old book with so many words. But in here, there are stories that have been told and retold for thousands of generations. Stories told around campfires, in front of huge crowds. Stories told around the dinner table. Stories that have been made into TV shows or films. Stories that have changed the course of history. Stories you should know. But where should you start? Well, welcome to 10 Must Know Bible Stories. Stories worth exploring.
Oh, hi Sue.
Hiya.
Did you just see the news? It was on the telly.
Oh, yeah, about those people and their leader.
Oh, they are the worst.
I think I disagree with everything they say and do.
You know what? If I saw one of them on the street, I would...
I'd definitely give them a piece of my mind, that's for sure.
I wish they would just disappear, you know? Now hang on a minute. Who do you guys think we were talking about just now?
Don't say anything out loud, but have a think. And I reckon everybody in your class will be thinking about someone or something different.
Yeah, because I don't know about you, but have you ever sat and watched the TV or the news with your parents and you find someone you just disagree with?
And you maybe even start to dislike them.
Yeah, you might start saying the kind of things that we were saying, like, if I saw them on the street.
Or, I just wish they'd disappear.
Oh yeah, that wasn't good, was it? The truth is that disagreements aren't necessarily a bad thing. I think we disagree about all sorts of things, even big things. I think even though we think the same about a lot, it would be very easy for us to find things we disagree about.
I think you're right, Dave. Let's test it out. Let's play Would You Rather?
All right, let's have a game of Would You Rather. I've written a few down here, some questions for you to answer, and so you can answer them too, and we'll see what we think.
Okay.
Number one, would you rather be super sporty athletic or super smart? Sue, what do you reckon?
Me, I want to be super sporty. I'd rather be able to run fast.
Really? I'm all about the brains. Gotta have the big brain. Let's try another one.
Okay.
Would you rather eat a Jaffa cake or a chocolate digestive?
Well, that's tough, but for me it would be a chocolate digestive. I can dip it in my tea.
Are you actually kidding right now?
No? Chocolate
Yeah.
digestives dipped in tea, they're the best. I love them.
Jaffa cakes are just 10 times better. How can you? I can't believe you can think that. Let's do one more. How
Okay.
about, would you rather be really famous or really rich?
You go first, Dave. What would you choose?
Oh, I'm all about the money. I want to be rich. I don't care if people know who I am.
That's shocking.
Really?
I am really shocked.
Oh.
I would choose really famous out of that one. I'd rather people knew me for who I was and they liked me, rather than just having lots of money. Honestly, that's terrible.
Oh, fine.
Wow, Dave, I can't believe we disagree about so much. How can we even still be friends?
Well, I think the thing is, being friends with someone doesn't mean you have to agree about everything. Actually, it's really important to try and get on with people we disagree with.
That's so true, because otherwise disagreeing with somebody becomes a little bit of disliking them, and then we start saying things like we were saying before, like, oh, they're the worst, I wish they would disappear.
So we don't want to think like that.
No.
So how do we actually go about getting on with people we really disagree with? That's difficult.
That is difficult, but there is a great Bible story which I think will help us. It's a parable that Jesus told.
A parallelogram?
A parable.
A pirate?
A parable.
A paranorman.
A parable.
Again, a parable is a short story that illustrates a spiritual or moral lesson.
Oh, I get it. So a parable is a story Jesus told with a bigger meaning. Oh, well, that's great. Let's hear that, because I really need some help with this one.
Here are the characters we are going to use to help us tell our story today. Now, what you need to know is that most of the characters in this story are Jewish people. but one of them is a Samaritan man. Now, the Jewish people and the Samaritans didn't get on. They believed different things, and the Jewish people, didn't like the Samaritans. They thought they were better than them. So remember that as you listen to this story. Jesus said once there was a man who travelled from Jerusalem to Jericho. It was a dangerous road to travel on. From behind some rocks, out jumped some bandits. They attacked him. They beat him up and they left him there for dead, stealing all his things. The poor man. Next along the road came a Jewish priest. He worked in the temple. Surely he would help. But Jesus said he saw the man, didn't stop, crossed the road and kept on going. Then Jesus said, a temple helper came along. He worked in the temple too. He was a helper. Surely he would help. But Jesus said he saw the man, but he didn't stop. He crossed the road and kept on going. Next, Jesus said, along came a Samaritan man. He came with his donkey. The people listening to the story were Jewish people. They didn't like the Samaritans, so they wouldn't expect this man to help. But Jesus said the Samaritan man saw the injured man. He had compassion on him. He felt sorry for him, and he used his own oil and wine and bandages to look after his wounds. Then Jesus said he took the injured man, put him on his donkey, and took him to an inn, to a place to stay. And in the inn, he paid for the man to be looked after until he was better.
Well, that is a really famous story, so you've maybe heard it before. But I wonder if you've ever realised how much the Jewish people and the Samaritans disagreed with each other. They didn't get on at all.
Yeah, they disliked each other so much that the Jews wouldn't even travel into Samaria, even though they were neighbours. They lived right next to each other.
But not Jesus. Jesus was a Jew, but he often went to Samaria and made friends with the Samaritans.
So the question is, what do you think Jesus was trying to teach us with this parable?
We know parables are stories with bigger meanings, so why not pause here and think as a class? What do you think the bigger meaning is in this parable? What was Jesus trying to teach us?
Okay, I'm sure you guys had a lot of great ideas. This story definitely has a lot to teach us.
I think one of the biggest messages is that we should be looking for the best in people and not assuming the worst.
Yeah, that's important because remember, Jesus would have been telling this story to a group of Jews. And to them, they would have thought the Samaritan would be the baddie because he was the one that they would have disagreed with. And actually, the Samaritan, he was the good guy.
Jesus was saying to them that even if you disagree with them because they disagreed with the Samaritans, you don't have to be enemies.
Yeah, it's about looking for the best in people and not assuming the worst.
And I wonder if this will help us as we think about that question we asked of how do we get along with people we disagree with? Because if we're looking for the positives and not the negatives, the best and not the worst, that should really help us.
Okay, time for a challenge. I want you to think about someone you maybe disagree with, but I want you to think of some things that you have in common with that person, focusing on the positives.
That's tough, Dave. Can you give us an example?
Okay, well, I have a friend, and he supports a football club that is actually the rival of the team I support, so we definitely disagree on that. But you know what? We go to the same church, we eat the same kind of biscuit, and we like to go hill walking together, so we actually have a lot in common.
And that's what helps you get on, even though there's something you disagree with. So we have to think of somebody that there's something we disagree with them about. and then think of a few positives around that, things that we do have in common.
Exactly, because I think that's one of the big things that Jesus wanted to teach us with this parable. He wanted the Jews and the Samaritans to see the best in one another, and I think he asks us to do the same with one another too.